Good morning, everybody. Whew, okay. So, there was an attack on a church in Minnesota that happened over the weekend. We could have covered it yesterday. I chose not to. I chose not to for a very particular reason. I like to give events like this a little room to breathe to see how they develop. And so, in this case, wow, wow, am I glad that I have that policy in place because if we had covered this incident yesterday morning, we would have talked about Don Lemon's involvement, but we would not have had all of the glorious fallout that has followed, that has made it painfully, painfully obvious that Don Lemon and every other protester involved belong in jail. Mario will be joining us in just a minute, but while we're waiting for him, I'm going to go ahead and get you spun up on what actually happened. So before we get into Don Lemon, and we're going to spend a lot of time on Don Lemon this morning and how the charges need to fall. But before I play this clip, and I'm sure I'll repeat this, Aaron says mic check. Okay, mic check. Okay, sorry. Yeah. Okay, when I do have a mic check, it's a little touchy because the buttons to change the mic and the button to turn the microphone off are the same button with a caret. It's a whole thing. Anyway, so damn it, Aaron, you totally broke my train of thought. Where was it? Okay, here we go. So as we get into this, we're going to spend a lot of time on Don Lemon. Yes, especially once Mario gets in here, because let's be real. Don Lemon is a problem and has been a problem for some time. Don Lemon is one of the most egregious offender mouthpieces of the sociopathic radical left. Okay, I saw a clip yesterday, just random out of nowhere. Some guy was giving a speech at a church or something, and this black woman starts screaming at him. She's, "Do you believe there are two genders?" And he said, "Yeah." And this guy was some kind of immigrant. He was one of those that was given a speech where part of what he was talking about is, look, I'm an immigrant, but I immigrated correctly. I came into this country through the proper channels. I applied for citizenship. I went through the process. I got my citizenship. It cost me money. It cost me time and effort, and I did it the right way. And the guy is even very clear in his speech that he's a little bit kind of center left type of guy. And okay, whatever. But then this woman asks him if he's if he believes there are two genders. He says, "Yeah, obviously there are two genders." She says, "Then you're a right-wing extremist." Okay. And I bring that up because of the frame. And I want you guys to understand the frame. And I want you guys to start using this whenever you run into it out in the wild. Understand this. This is not the frame by my opinion. This is the correct frame. If a person believes that another person's belief is that there are two genders, and that equals that person is a right-wing extremist, then the person you're talking about is not the person that holds that opinion is not a left-wing extremist. It is not so simple and boilerplate as that. The person you're talking to, the person who holds the belief that there is this spectrum of genders, this person is not a political ideologue. This person is psychotic. This person has broken with reality. This person believes things that are categorically not true. This person ignores and refuses to accept brute fact. So a person who believes that the belief that two genders is the same as being a right-wing extremist. That person is not a left-wing extremist. That person has a mental illness. That person has a complete fracture from reality. So what actually happened over the weekend is there was an attack, not a protest. Welcome to the show, Mario. This was not a protest. This was an attack. And we'll get into I'll get into it deep in a minute on how the First Amendment is not even a part of this conversation. Shouldn't be a part of this conversation.
It's low-grade terrorism is what it is.
No, Mario, watch the video clip closely. This is not low-grade terrorism.
Renee Gunn! Renee Gunn!
Fuck these people.
Renee Gunn!
Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot! Don't shoot!
They are surrounding these people. They are blocking the exits. Come on in, Mario. There's a lot to go through here. First,
you notice how there's a handful of awfuls there. Okay, affluent female white liberals who immediately turn on their own congregation and raise their hand up to show that they're down with the revolution. Okay, understand that that's all women, guys. That's all women. The moment you are not in it, the moment that it is perceived that you are not in a position of strength, your woman will betray you instantly. Understand that. They are simple creatures, and that they can be broken by consensus that quickly.
I'll push back on you a little bit there. Training is valuable. Training is valuable.
Give her treats. Put her in a kennel. What do you?
I'll put it like this. I have 100% confidence that if I were with my wife and children in, let's say it happened in a Walmart, for example, and it came to be clear that there was an armed and serious threat, and it was prudent and needful that I draw my weapon and engage that enemy. I know what my wife is going to do in that circumstance. I know exactly what she's going to do. Is she going to draw her weapon and help me engage that enemy? Absolutely
you're
not.
Get the kids out the back now.
Correct. That would run counter to her training. Her training is that the children are first. I will handle the threat. What she's going to do is draw her weapon, get the children under cover, and protect them while I conduct the kinetic part of the operation. Now, I know fair play for a lot of you in the audience, fair play. My audience is not entirely made up of dual military active duty couples with combat training. Fair, that's fair. But if you have not had this conversation with your wives, then it's time to go buy your lady a pink pistol and have this conversation. Take her to the range, take her out in the backyard, make sure she can shoot that weapon. And babe, if you're watching this, I know I've got a bucket of 9mm over here that we need to burn through for exactly that reason. It's just a matter of taking the time to do it. But she knows what to do. Get the kids under cover, draw your fucking weapon, and be prepared to eliminate the enemy if any of them happen to get by me, which statistically is improbable given my history.
Okay, you're a little different for you. I get it. Okay, but there's certain principles still stand. Okay, a woman is first and foremost interested. First of all, a woman cannot love a man. A woman actually only loves her children. Okay, she doesn't love a man. Any relationship with a man is conditional. Okay, and two, all right, she is security minded first. Okay, for herself and her children. Okay, and if you become a hindrance to that security, then it doesn't matter how much you think she loves you. She's gone. Okay. For example, Chris, let's say you
make a very good point there, and it actually backs up my point. Because what you're saying is if she perceives that you are no longer adequate to the task, gentlemen, you do have a responsibility to remain adequate to the task.
That's what I'm going to say. No matter how strong your relationship is with your wife, Chris, okay, please understand that if you lost your mind one day, all right, and decided you were going to invest, you're going to just dump all of your assets, cash everything in because you want to construct like Leonardo da Vinci manuscript style ornithopters, okay, and every time Fee confronted you about it, you simply responded with, "Oh, I've got a flying machine," okay, like she'd leave you. She would leave you because she has to. Okay.
You know what, Mario? I'm going to admit something here on air for everybody to hear. You have just excited me and activated me to do precisely that. In fact, with my homeschool children now, I think we're going to have to build ornithopters precisely to fit into the technology and physics part of our homeschool training. Now, in fairness, this wouldn't be a total break from tradition because
I'm sorry, Felicia, I betrayed you.
One of the first physics lessons that my children got, in fact, was building trebuchets out of PVC pipe in the backyard. So here's another. I want to go back to this clip for a second.
Actually, Sergeant Major brings up a good point.
Where are you?
Oh, damn it.
Sergeant Major brings up a good point. It may have been that they're actually praying. They're praying for the protest. That is entirely possible.
That could be the case.
I just woke up. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm nasty. Okay.
Aaron Olson says I'm a homeschooler and an engineer, and I believe by homeschooler, Aaron Olson means that he was homeschooled.
I'm gonna go away for a minute. I'm upsetting everyone in the audience.
You're beautiful, Mario. You're a stunning, shining unicorn. But listen closely to what they're saying here.
Renee good! Renee good!
Okay, before they say the next thing, let me be very clear. Renee Good got justice. Right? Yeah. That is not a question in controversy.
Well, the left doesn't understand the concept of justice. The left thinks that justice means you get what you want, okay? It's like a child's understanding. Justice means you get what's coming to you. Like, you get what you deserve. That's what justice means.
Correct. And as Tim Pool keeps trying to explain to people who aren't listening, and he's actually 100% correct on this, the Democrats keep saying so-and-so didn't get due process. Yes, they did. Due process, the term due process is not a legal term of art that includes the meaning a jury trial. It is a legal term of art that includes only the meaning. It only entails the meaning that you received the process which was due to you under the law. Under the law, for example, if you're an illegal immigrant, there is no jury. There is a process by which the agent investigates, compiles documentation. There is a bit of presumption of guilt there because you have, a bit of you have to prove your innocence there, because if you come under question of legitimacy in the immigration process, you do have to produce documents to prove your legitimacy. So that might get a little sticky, but the law does not prescribe a jury trial, etc. The law prescribes it is determined that you're an illegal immigrant and then you are ejected from the country. Deportation is the due process, right? Now listen to the next thing they say here.
Hey, good!
Hands up, don't shoot. Come on back, Mario. Y'all, hands up, don't shoot is kind of like very fine people.
It's a trope that goes back to Missouri, to wherever.
No, it's a hoax that goes back to Missouri, to the Michael Brown incident.
Trope hoax.
There's an important distinction here. The hands up, a trope would be a thing that is repeated frequently. Right. But importantly, in this case, it's specifically, it's a thing that didn't happen.
Ferguson, yes, yeah.
Yes, the Ferguson event, Michael Brown, right? He had just robbed a convenience store and was beating the shit out of and trying to take a weapon away from.
He was doing the opposite of hands up, don't shoot. He was trying to steal the officer's gun. Okay?
And where the hands up, don't shoot thing came from is there was a friend with him that lied. He said it on air in an interview. He put his hands up and said, "Don't shoot." And then when he got into the FBI interview, it was explained to him, you understand that lying to the FBI is also a crime, and we will charge you with that. And he said, "Oh yeah, he never put his hands up. He never said don't shoot.
It never held up. It never held up it never held up in the grand jury investigation, and then they exonerated the officer, Officer Wilson, I believe, if memory serves correct. Yeah.
So yeah, there's a whole list. I should have pulled this up this morning, but there's a whole list of hoaxes that have been perpetrated by the left. Russiagate, hands up, don't shoot. Very fine people. Trump extorting Zelensky over the phone. The find the ballots. The 2020 was the safest, most secure election. Okay, when you hear people espouse the belief in any of these things, you need to understand what you're talking to. You're not talking to a person who is misinformed, who is merely misinformed. You're talking to a person who believes the moon is made out of cheese, who believes that the earth is flat. Okay? A person who believes you should break spaghetti noodles before you put them in the water so they fit in the pot. You're talking about a person who is unhinged, a person who has fundamentally broken from reality.
Yeah.
You're talking about a person who's looking for the spot to put the blinker fluid in their truck.
Well, when your belief system is a lie, it should stand to reason that that foundational aspects of it will be based on hoaxes. Okay, so yeah. Now, what was I going to say? Maybe I don't know. Maybe the black nationalist, maybe the 5% nation, the black Hebrew Israelites, right? Maybe they are, maybe they're dispensationalists. Okay. Maybe Yaqub the Great Kang had a different message in the time of Ferguson for Michael Brown than he did in the time of Trayvon Martin, okay, versus George Zimmerman. Okay, it's dispensationalism. There's two distinct messages there, okay, that are separate. All right. So, yeah.
Solid.
And if you want some more of that, look to the deep dive last Saturday, which you didn't.
Oh, did you read the chat that I sent you for that?
What? Like in the actual in Rumble?
In the BFM thread. We'll talk about it off air later.
I don't know.
So what happened there? What you saw there is. That's terrorism. It's not just okay. So we're about to get into Don Lemon, and a big part of the conversation around Don Lemon being here is being centered on the question of the First Amendment and whether or not what Don Lemon did was a violation of the First Amendment. So let me clear that up real quick. An individual citizen cannot violate the First Amendment. Understand this. The First Amendment says that the Congress shall make no law which abridges, and then it lists the 5 enumerated civil liberties that are contained in the First Amendment. The First Amendment restricts the government from establishing an official church, restricting free speech, restricting freedom of assembly, free worship, freedom of worship, freedom of the press, and the freedom to petition the government for redress of grievances. It restricts the federal government, right? It says the Congress shall make no law. In theory, individual states could make laws which would be violative of the First Amendment if the federal government did it, but are not so if the states do it. That's a different conversation, but the point here is that the First Amendment does not even require the government to prevent other people from violating or restricting your First Amendment, what we call the First Amendment's freedoms. It restricts the government from making laws where the government itself interferes with those liberties. So what Don Lemon did here was not a violation of the First Amendment. Similarly, however, while the government cannot restrict his First Amendment, neither can it interfere in the free practice of that amendment by other people. So what you're actually seeing here, forget about the First Amendment. Yesterday, we talked about First Amendment absolutism and where there are vulnerabilities to the enemy when you allow them to take advantage of your largesse. But that conversation, that was about inappropriate material being exposed to children. What Don Lemon did here is he joined a violent mob, trespassed into a private establishment, interrupting their... Now, here, he interrupted their free assembly, their free worship, etc. But the First Amendment doesn't protect you from citizens doing that.
Read the definition
There are
of
other
terrorism.
laws that do that. He committed trespass. He committed terrorism. Like we showed, that they went in and intimidated and threatened and terrorized these people.
The
And
unlawful,
as I pointed out when we were looking at the video, they were blocking the exit as well. They were standing there blocking the exit and creating a situation where a reasonable person in that situation would believe that attempting to leave the premises would cause the escalation of violence and threat.
Yeah,
so they were also hostage taking illegal detention.
Correct.
They kidnapped that entire congregation, and Don Lemon is absolutely complicit in that.
Here's the definition of terrorism: the unlawful use of violence and intimidation, especially against civilians, in pursuit of political aims. Yes, that's exactly what that was: intimidating civilians for political aims. Okay, and yes,
100%.
they are hostages. Okay, because outside that church, if you leave, you're going to be walking right into the horde. Okay, so now you can't leave. You see, they're trapped in there, and that's why I said low-grade terrorism.
So I'm going to talk about Tim Pool for just a second here, because the stars aligned last night. And it just so happened that on Martin Luther King Day, when Don Lemon is about to be charged under the KKK Act, which we'll get into a little more in a minute, it just happened to be the case that on Timcast Live, their guest last night was... Have you seen this yet, Mario?
I have not. You said it in the chat. Like he came on live on the program.
Yeah, for the whole show. Nick Fuentes sat there with Tim Pool and at the very beginning of, I watched it this morning. It was fantastic. The very beginning of it, one of the first things Nick Fuentes says is, "And Ian's here. I insisted Ian be here for this because I love that guy." And I immediately thought of you, Mario. And at the beginning, Timmy is describing the situation with Don Lemon, and he made the case. Look, I don't think we need to throw the book at Don Lemon, but he needs to have some consequences. Okay, you know what? That's cute. Fuck you, Tim Pool. No, Don Lemon, a huge advocate for everything that was done to the political prisoners of J6, the man who has espoused repeatedly the theory, the theory that the worst threat to America is white supremacy, that white men are the greatest terrorists in the world, and that the 4 young blacks that kidnapped an autistic child and tortured him on a live stream for several hours were not evil. They just needed better home training. No, Don Lemon belongs under the jail. And what he did here was not some kind of radical, inflammatory speech expression, civil disobedience. No, what he did here was he engaged in terrorism, hostage taking, kidnapping, and trespassing.
Every fabricated and hoaxed racial crime of whites against blacks in the past dozen years. Okay, in every one of these incidents, Don Lemon was there. Don Lemon was there fanning the flames. And conversely, every legitimate hate crime, okay, if we're gonna use the terminology, okay, every legitimate hate crime that was a black on white crime that achieved national attention, that barely able to get through into the national conscience, Don Lemon was there, hiding it, obscuring it, not reporting it. Okay. Don Lemon is, and he's fake too. He doesn't believe it. He's fake. He's gay, and he's married to a white man. Okay, like, it's bullshit. He doesn't believe any of it. He just wants the attention. Okay, he just
he's a grifter
craves
par
the
excellence.
Yeah,
pure grift.
No.
Now, immediately after the news broke, well, okay, wait, hold on. Let me do this first.
I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship. So,
but there were folks who will.
I have to take care of my flock.
Okay, but listen, we live there's a Constitution, the First Amendment
to. Please tell us about that.
Freedom to assemble and protest.
We're here to worship.
Yeah, you're free to assemble and protest peacefully, for one, and in public spaces. This is not a public space. Mm-hmm. At the most generous, you would call a church a public accommodation, but this is private property. And immediately upon entering, they were told they were not welcome there. That's it. That's the end of the conversation. As soon as it's said, whoa, you're disrupting, you're not welcome here, this is private property. Any set of language that expresses that sentiment, even as simple as there's a purple post on the land somewhere, my man, you are in mortal peril because what you are doing right now is threatening to murder me.
Yeah. For anyone out there, okay, who by circumstances has never actually attended a church service, let me explain. If you walk in to a church and you're like super late, all right, and it's like halfway through the sermon, you walk in and you quietly sit down, no problem. Okay, when you come in with the intent of disrupting, that's a problem.
Yeah, and I'm seeing some comments down here. In a Southern church, the ushers would have stopped him at the door.
No, they wouldn't have.
Every church should have many armed men. Yeah, I would agree with you, Danny. In a Southern church, the ushers would have stopped them at the door. I would have agreed with you on that maybe 20 years ago. But even the Southern churches, with a very few exceptions, have been deeply infiltrated by the sociopath leftists. I mean, we can have a whole conversation. We can do a whole deep dive on women in the cloth.
Paid security, perhaps. Like
yes.
Volunteers from the congregation, no. Especially if the congregation's white and it's a horde of black people coming in. No, they're not going to do shit because they know they're being filmed, and everyone's terrified of being on camera of the white guy who struck a black man, a sacred black man, okay, who this country worships.
Coder Girl says this was a test for the Dems, and of course nothing will happen. This will happen again. We'll get to that in just a minute.
It will happen. That's why you have to understand. These people are strong. These people are stronger than us. Okay, you need to understand that. I don't think you in the audience appreciate the power, okay, of mob mentality, stupidity, and lies all coming together. It is a terrifying thing, and they are stronger than you right now, and they are flexing on us. They are dabbing on us. Okay. All because Donald Trump is a coward who won't fucking do anything. All right? So Donald Trump will fuck up, get rid of Susan Wiles, listen to Stephen Miller, and do something about it.
Right. Yeah. This is a litmus test. This is going to be the litmus test going into the midterms here. The thing that's going to lose Trump the midterms is not conservatives that disagree with his policy. It's going to be conservatives that see over and over again that leftist terrorists are allowed to murder, are allowed to literally get away with murder in the streets, with arson, with terrorism, with attacking conservatives, white people, Christians, etc., with no consequences. We're going to get to the midterms, and it's not going to be the case that people who would have voted for Donald Trump decide instead to vote for his opponents.
No, it's just people don't show up.
They're just not going to show up.
Correct.
They're just going to say, what's the point? The country's lost. We are hostages. We are hostages of the communist takeover.
And the administration doesn't take it seriously.
And the administration doesn't care.
Yeah.
That's the thing that's going to lose him the midterm.
100%. Still
And
time,
if-
Donnie.
and if-
Still time.
Yeah, there's still time, but not much.
Let's go.
So let's take a look at this.
You do that
I've got the
organization?
statement here from Don Lemon. This is a 1-minute clip. We're going to listen to the whole thing.
MAGA administration and the fake news MAGAs are losing their mind over something that's not
Fake news baggers.
true. So let me just make it clear, because this the assistant attorney general, I don't know, gosh, what's her name? Something Hammett,
This nigga got AIDS.
Goen or whatever. So I had no affiliation to that organization. I didn't even know they were going to this church until we followed them there. We were there chronicling protests. Once the protest started in the church, we did an act of journalism, which was report on it and talk to the people who were involved, which included the pastor, members of the church, and members of the organization. That's it. It's called journalism. First Amendment, all that stuff. For all of you people who believe in the First Amendment, absolutist, there you go.
You don't.
To the actual person who is in charge of the organization and whose idea it was to have the protests at the church before you start blaming me for stuff for which you have no idea. Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Yo, man.
Thank you for your attention to this matter.
Where can I get one of them sweet Lemon Nation fucking beanies? I'm all about it. I want a Lemon Nation like fucking ski mask. I want a Lemon Nation balaclava. Pairs nicely with Molotovs.
He said, "Why don't you go talk to the person who organized this?" That would be this Nakima Levy Armstrong.
Correct. And
right?
Cade, yes, Cade, I saw you. They love to talk like they think they're so clever. Okay, when they think they think they're endearing, they think they're clever, and all I see there is smugness and a complete divorce of any accountability. I see right through that facade. He knows he fucked up, and he's trying to downplay it. All right.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Watch. Where's the facial expression? He makes the expression. Do.
And he looks like he has AIDS.
Chronicling protests. Once the protest started in the church, we did an act of journalism, which was report on it and talk to the people who were involved, which included the pastor, members of the church, and members of the organization.
So I just happened to walk by this and noticed there's some journalism
here. People who believe in the First Amendment, absolutist.
That right there.
You're not a First Amendment absolutist, Don Lemon. What are you talking about?
Right. That face right there.
For all of you people who believe in the First Amendment, absolutist. There you go. So,
literally a woman. He's got the facial mannerisms of a woman.
Yeah, the only thing he's missing here is the septum ring and the bird hands.
Yeah.
Right. As soon as you see the septum ring and the bird hands, you're dealing with somebody who belongs in an asylum.
Yeah.
And that God, that could be a whole other deep dive. We closed the asylums. We stopped locking up the crazies.
Yep.
It is not the case that it seems like there are more crazy people out there because we don't lock away the crazy people. It doesn't seem like there are more. Psychotic, reality-breaking sociopathy is contagious.
Yeah. Closing
the asylums was equivalent to putting sick people in old folks' homes during COVID. Yeah. You have taken the disease and left it out there, and it's a disease that intentionally exacerbates itself.
Yeah, and it's a disease. You have left it out in the open, and where it's going to congregate, unfortunately, is where it's going to do the absolute most damage, around poor people who are already struggling, okay? Who are already living in undesirable conditions, right? And then on top of that, you're going to pour psychosis straight from the asylum right on top of them, okay? This is like what Batman villains do, all right? But yeah, it's like a Joker plot. But yeah, that was in the 1980s, and that would be a good deep dive. Okay, it's one of the worst things Reagan did, along with amnesty. Yep.
Now he said He said you need to look to the woman, the people that organized this. And yes, we do, in fact.
I'm glad you got this.
That's right. This is Nakima Levy Armstrong. When people talk about paid protesters, and we've explained on the show many times before, this is one of those places where the leftoids take advantage of the language and twist it to try and make you sound crazy. Like the whole thing with Candace Owens right now is she's being propped up because she sounds crazy. The point is to make people who are not already on the left, who are just kind of middle of the road normies that might go one way or the other, that might be convinced by an argument one way or the other, to make them believe that Candace represents what the average conservative believes, because she's insane. She thinks that Charlie Kirk was a time traveler who came back in time and was being controlled by Matrix-like agents, the Sentinels and all this. I mean, she is fucking off her rocker, right? This woman, when we talk about the paid protesters, the lefties frame that for the normies so that it sounds like what we've said is every single person who is at one of these protests is a paid protester. That is not the claim. That is not what we've claimed. What the truth is that there are organizers like Barack Obama was before he was elected president, and like Nakima Levy Armstrong are. These are compensated anarchists. Okay, these are agents provocateur. They are paid by larger organizations with U.S. taxpayer dollars, I might add. Don't forget that. They are funded by your tax dollars. And their job is to go out and organize protests where people who are not paid congregate for the primary explicit purpose of getting a bunch of people in one spot, doing violence, committing acts of violence to incite the police to take large enforcement actions, so that the end result is you take people who are concerned about something that may or may not be a legitimate issue and radicalize them so that they become concerned and radicalized on more and more psychotic further left issues, so that they go from saying, you know what, man, it's not okay to just kick down doors and arrest citizens for no good reason. As soon as they've been arrested for being involved in a violent riot, their next step is, we should start killing babies as soon as they're born, and you should pay for it. That's who those people are. So when we talk about the paid protesters, that's a paid protester.
Those signs,
that's a compensated anarchist. That's an agent provocateur.
Those signs were mass produced. They were paid for. And it wasn't them.
Yeah, I mean,
it wasn't
look at the
them
signs. They're like
they're professional.
They're die-cut, professional printed signs.
Made.
Yeah. Yep. This isn't Tina went and got some cardboard and some cardboard and Sharpie markers from the Target.
No. Pure Esther. It's pure AstroTurf.
100%.
Yep.
Right. And this is the woman that organized that maneuver. Now, the next thing, Don Lemon just said that he committed an act of journalism. He was just there to record. Oh my God, here we go.
Oh God, are we watching more of this insufferable man?
A little bit ago, and did some reconnaissance on the ground, speaking to an organization there that's gearing up for resistance and protest. I've been pleasantly surprised to see the community coming together.
Fuck you.
Diverse community. If you see this, when we first pulled up, we were like, wait a minute, which operation are we at? And as it turns out, because we were like, well, this is kind of MAGA coded, right?
Oh, you got multiple ops, Lemon?
But these are...
This is MAGA coded because they have an American flag, right? Yeah. What else do you need to know? This is an anti-American terrorist right there.
He's dumb as fuck.
Planning an operation that we're going to follow them on.
These are resistance protesters that are planning an operation.
I can't tell you exactly what they're doing, but it's called Operation Pull Up. And it's Nakima Armstrong, and she has been doing this since George Floyd, Dante Wright, and others, where they...
So this is a long-running, habitual, repeat offender terrorist, organized terrorist, right, who's committing acts of terror repeatedly in the past, under the guise of protest, which, as we've already detailed, it clearly is not. It is clearly distinct. Protest is speech. Protest is, okay, marching in the streets, sure. Public, that's a public place, a traditional forum, traditional speech forum. Gotcha. But
Don Lemon is the worst type of stupid. Okay, he's the type of stupid that is so stupid it is incapable of recognizing its own limitations. Okay, the unaware stupid.
Let's not forget this is the black hole ate the airplane theory guy.
Yeah, and everyone knows it except him. And the reason he gets to carry a microphone is because of racial communism has effectively solidified itself within our institutions. That's it.
Yeah.
He checked the box, gay, black, you're hired. That's it. That's why he has a microphone.
And it gets better. Remember, Don Lemon's argument is that he went there to and I quote, commit an act of journalism.
Yeah. Surprise people, catch them off guard, and hold them to account. And so that's what we're doing here. And then we're
hold on.
You just admitted to it.
He just confessed. He didn't just confess to a crime. He just confessed to preparing to commit a crime with the explicit intent.
That's premeditated, is what he just did. Yeah.
Right. This is, we've talked about the Clinton email scandal, and I've made the case that because of the nature of who and what Hillary Clinton is, they made the argument that she didn't have the intent to commit the crime she committed. And I've made two important arguments there repeatedly on air. One, that intent is not a part of that crime, but more importantly, that the amount of preparation required for that crime to be committed, coupled with the fact that she's read on, which means that she was sat down in a secure room under armed guard, and a document was placed in front of her clearly explaining what the bonds of the crime were. And she wasn't just handed the document and asked to read it and sign it to agree that she had read it. No, that's not how that works. When you're read on, somebody else reads the document to you, explains it to you, asks you questions about the individual pieces of the non-disclosure agreement you're about to sign to make sure that you understand it, asks you to explain it back to them so that they know that you're not just saying, yeah, I get it. No. Yeah, I get it isn't correct. You have to explain to me what this means and explain that you get it. And then you sign it. It is not possible that she committed the crime she committed without the intent to do so. This may be the first time I have seen a case where the intent component of the statute is more clearly satisfied than in the Clinton email scandal.
No.
Because
fair enough.
Intent is the hardest part of a crime to prove.
Correct.
Generally speaking, because without a direct statement from the accused, intent essentially requires some sort of chicken sacrificing augury and divination. You have to mind read to get intent without a direct statement. Outside of that, you're working on inference and implication.
Maybe Don Lemon is a humiliation ritual. Like the only reason people pay for him to do stuff like this is because people like us will react to it. That is entirely possible. Like he's literally he's just rage bait for us.
And in all fairness, Mario, that is not an item which was off of my list of reasons to cover it this morning. Mm-hmm. Don Lemon's name, let's be real, Don Lemon's name appears in the title of this video because people will click on that.
Don Lemon is ignominious, okay? His name itself is shameful.
It is. No, I mean, and I kind of aped this off of John Ward, worst journalist of all time, because Don Lemon. John Ward has done several videos making fun of Don Lemon, and every time he says Don Lemon's name, he says worst journalist of the year, Don Lemon, worst journalist of the year. He says it every time he says his name because Don Lemon was given an award at his college for being the worst journalist of the year.
Yeah, when John Ward selects you as an object to be ridiculed, it's bad. Like you're
Yeah, the last thing you want as a public identity is to have a John Ward video entitled "So and So ends so and so's career."
You don't want John Ward doing a 5-minute video on you. If it happens, emergency protocols in place. All Twitter messages go private. Okay, and log off the internet for 2 weeks. Go into hiding.
So okay, that's enough of that. We've got him committing his crime. Now he goes and doubles down. I forget this.
Look at this beautiful. Look at this youthful, fertile looking woman. Look at. God.
Yeah, that's a lot of botulism.
And there's a certain degree of entitlement. I think people who are in religious groups like that, it's not the type of Christianity that I practice, but I think they're entitled. And that entitlement comes from supremacy, a white supremacy. And
okay, I am not a Bible thumper. I am not a pew hopper. I am not even a habitual church going Christian. I am not a Christian. Right? I am a very religious, very spiritual man. I take a lot from the Christian Bible. I do. I have some issues with Christianity on its base, but I can understand and appreciate it when I see it. This is a gay man talking about the Christianity he practices. This is a heretic.
It's worse. It's even. I mean, okay, yeah, correct. It's a deeply intellectually limited man. Okay, to appear on camera and talk about other people having a sense of entitlement. Okay, give me a fucking. But you project with every breath, Don Lemon. You are the entitled one here, and to say that this church it's not my type of Christianity. It's a normal freaking Protestant church, dude. What is your type of Christianity? Right. Okay, like Bishop T.D. Jakes healing people on stage, people passing around pythons in the congregation. What is your type of Christianity, Don Lemon? Give me a fucking break.
You know what? Over the years, Mario, I have gone to a lot of different types of churches. Baptist, Methodist, Episcopalian. Spent most of my youth in an Episcopal church. There's a denomination that has entirely betrayed its congregation nationally. But I've also been to some weird ones on purpose. I wanted to see what was going on. Right. I went to what are they, Universalist?
I do the best I can. Okay, but like when I'm doing stuff regarding Protestantism. Okay, but it's not entirely my background. So, but now that we got Aaron Olson on the team. Any and all proddy talk, okay? That's going to be Aaron Olson's bag, all right?
Hey, Aaron, the link is there if you want to add into this.
No, I gotta leave in a few minutes, unless you want to pop in. That's fine.
But I went to a Universalist, whatever they're called. It's a hippie church. I went to one in Savannah one time. And we're sitting there, and I think Steve Rodemeyer was there with me. And we're sitting there in the congregation listening to the sermon. And then the chorus starts singing, "We ain't gonna practice war no more." And I was done, because I have long understood that pacifism is the opposite of decency. We ain't gonna practice war no more. Okay, listen, there are unjust wars.
Then die.
Yes, but the sentiment, the blanket absolute rejection of the use of force and violence is a confession before God that you value nothing morally, that nothing matters so much that it justifies violence. And I've said it 1,000 times, and I'll say it 1,000 more, right? That means that you don't love anyone. To be a pacifist is to be without love. I have a wife and 4 children, and every other life is forfeit.
Mhm.
I have a mother and father and dear friends, and every other life is forfeit.
Yep.
Right? If it is a choice between my wife and the world, your luck will have run out.
Yep.
If it is a choice between my children and an entire ethnic group, I don't care if the ethnic group is my own. Genocide is the answer. A pacifist loves nothing.
Yep.
Pacifism is nihilism purely.
It's the universal dichotomy. Okay, like if there is no hate, there can be no love. Okay, if there is no darkness, there can be no light. Okay, it is universal dichotomy. Yep.
And Aaron Olson, despite Mario's admonition, you're here. You might as well chime in. If Mario has to drop out, he can drop out whenever he wants to.
I see him lurking. down there.
You said they were pythons, Mario, and I had to come and say they're not pythons, they're rattlesnakes.
Oh my God! How about anacondas? That'd be more fun. You could get it like a big 30.
Anacondas aren't venomous; they're cuddly.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like you get like a congregation of 30-something people, and we're going to crowd surf this 30-foot anaconda. That'd be based.
Damn, son, look at that suit and tie. You out slinging Bibles door to door, baby?
Nah, he's slinging.
No, I'm going to go do some. I got to go do some inspections this morning out in the cold. When it's cold, I dress up.
You don't have any hair on your ass unless you walk up to that door with you're still on stream. You knock on that door when they answer. You say, "I'm here to talk to you about our Lord and Savior compliance codes."
or roll up on someone's doorstep and be like Don Lemon, do a journalism, okay? Like live on.
Do some journalism. Yeah.
You did a journalism. Okay, so let's
Unfortunately,
Christopher Mario, send the regards.
Let's get back to this clip because I really want to get through this one before
they think that this country was built for them, that it is a Christian country, when actually we left England because we wanted religious freedom. It's religious freedom, but only if you're a Christian and only if you're a white male, pretty much. And so, yeah, I absolutely 100%, but it's an intimidation tactic. And, I said, I don't understand how I've become the face of it when they talk about religious freedom. This was one group of Christians splitting from another group of Christians over the question of heresies, right?
Well, political control as well. Oliver Cromwell was kind of a religious dictator. Okay, there was a lot of people were trying to get out of England at the time. The English Civil War was a bloody and horrifying affair. Okay, but that's a different topic for a different day. And yeah, it would. Patrick Brown says Don Lemon is the real racist.
This is true.
And he is, unironically. Well, I mean, he basically just said that being a Christian is an act of white supremacy and white privilege.
I'm like Cade. Cade is.
I don't need to reject that.
It's literally like listening to him is causing psychic damage to Cade. And yes, I feel the same thing, Cade.
Agreed.
I do understand that I'm the biggest name there. And I'm also, as I was on with my producers this morning, you and Kylie talk all the time. My producers were saying.
Now, he just said, I'm the biggest name there. And that is true. That's why his name is in the headline. He is the most recognizable, as Mario said correctly, ignominious person in the group. Yes, he is the celebrity.
But he couldn't help but self-aggrandize. He's self-aggrandizing. Even he knows he got in trouble, but he can't help but aggrandize himself. So far.
Oh, and Mario, the rest of that statement gets even worse. I'm gonna back it up just a hair.
My producers were saying, I said, how did I become the face of this? And my producer said, Don, you're a gay black man in America. And there's a certain degree of entitlement. I think.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, there is.
Yes, Don. Yes.
It's just not what you think.
Yes. You've all heard of black fatigue. Americans generally, left and right, and we saw this in the last election. left and right. Not just black fatigue, gay fatigue, trans fatigue. Americans broadly are fatigued over crazy leftist nonsense. Now, with the black fatigue, you're talking about the constant videos of, groups of black people just basically rioting on Carnival cruise ships, and that's obnoxious. It is. But the other stuff is straight up. We're tired of hearing about it. We're tired of hearing our politicians arguing about trans issues, et cetera, et cetera. Like I said before, if you believe there are more than two genders, you're a person who is broken with reality. You're not a political ideologue. You are a psychopath. You are a person who does not understand reality. You are fundamentally broken from brute fact.
But it's also coming off the back of them trying to say trust the science, and then choosing to turn their back on thousands of years of guaranteed scientific data.
And brute observable reality. Yeah.
Yeah.
Patrick points out the only reason anyone cares that Don Lemon is gay is because he won't shut the hell up about it. Yeah, let's not forget, this is also Don Lemon who famously assaulted some guy in a bar, walked up and
I was just going to say that, yeah.
And waved his hand in front of the guy's face. And
well, no, he put his hand on his face after he grabbed his crotch. Like, put his hands down his pants and rubbed the guy's face.
Yeah, and
that's disgusting.
I had an incident, Mario. You'll remember this. We had just done one of the slam poetry gigs, and we were outside of the East Village Cafe in Monterey, smoking a cigarette, and there was this homeless gay guy that was just like persistent, and it was all I could do. You and I think Staples were there to pull me back because this guy just kept hitting on me, and I tried to politely say, look, man, I'm not interested. I don't swing that way. That's not my gig. And I'm married. I'm not into it. And he said something like, well, yeah, that wife of yours, she's just a hoe that ain't taking care of her man. Why ain't she here with you? And Mario saved that man's life.
It was a white man that identified as a black woman. Incredible.
Correct. And then we went to Denny's afterward, and this guy followed us to the Denny's with a cadre of other.
They sound like they were just hungry.
Homosexuals by large are racked with parasites, okay? And the parasite has essentially taken over the body, and it wants to do what parasites do, which is use the host to spread the parasite, okay? I think the parasite may well be demonic, okay? But there's something there. There's something that is taking control of these men for the purpose of spreading the disease. Anyway, totally different topic.
Yeah, totally different topic.
A seventh totally different topic for the day. And my time here is about up. Looking sharp, AA Ron, okay?
Thank you.
Kick in some doors. So you know what it takes? Yeah. You know what it takes to sell real estate, Aaron? Balls.
McDonald's?
Brass balls, okay? Glengarry Glen Ross. If you haven't seen that movie, watch it immediately. That is your homework.
Oh, God, have you seen it?
I don't think so.
You're wrong. So, this man is wrong.
Brother, until you've seen that movie, you have to stop drinking coffee, and all you get is fucking steak knives.
Yeah. Coffee's for fucking closers, okay?
Coffee's for closers. You get fucking steak knives.
Okay.
Yeah, you work in real estate, and you haven't seen Glengarry Glen Ross. Correct yourself, sir.
No.
I think that's what I'm doing with the rest of my day. I'm going to go watch Glengarry Glen Ross again. I haven't seen it in a few years. It's a great fucking movie.
Oh, yeah.
You get fucking steak knives. I need to put a coffee is for closers sign on the back wall here.
Or an ABC, always be closing behind you.
Yes.
That would be fun. Yeah.
I heard that
one. All right, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and put a pen in it there, let Mario get off to work, and we will get to...
Karma Cathedral, stop it. It's okay when we do it, all right?
Yeah, exactly. Y'all be good. Be safe out there, guys. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow.
Ciao.
Say something, Aaron.
Oh, see ya.
America misses you.
Right. Anyway, I got to get the trash
I was
down.
pretty happy with how this thumbnail came out this morning too, by the way.
It's pretty solid.
It's too bad he didn't assault a Catholic church, because you can just say he's wearing the official Catholic robes of the Spanish version.
Yeah, he's wearing the penitent robes. Yes.
Oh.